Disbarment? Why, I thought... Doesn't disbarment imply...
Yes, it does more than imply. It establishes that a man is guilty of conduct which makes him unworthy to practice his profession. That's what I'm faced with this very minute.
Then... I'm quite bewildered.
18 years. 18 years. I've been a full-fledged lawyer. 18 years. Nobody's ever had anything on me. And then this one thing, this one little thing that was dead and buried comes up. Ping. Out I go like a candle.
But what is it you did, George?
You know what it means to frame up on an alibi?
Yes, I think I do. Getting someone to testify falsely. I don't know much about these things, George. Wasn't that a dishonest thing to do?
Well, it was conniving at a lie to save a poor kid from going to prison for life, to prevent a conviction that nobody wanted, not the judge, nor the district attorney, nor the jury, but that the law made inevitable.
But why do you have anything to do with such people? Thieves, criminals.
Well, I'm a lawyer, darling. Somebody's got to defend people who are accused of crime.
Was this boy guilty?
Guilty of stealing a few dollars, yes.
And now someone's found out about the alibi and they're going to disbar you. Is that it?
Yes, someone's found out. A man who's had it in for me for years. A gentleman by the name of Francis Clark Baird.
Francis Clark Baird? Why, he's a very eminent lawyer, isn't he? I think I've heard Father speak of him. Isn't he one of the Connecticut Bairds?
Yes, he may be, for all I know, but that doesn't mean much to me. All that I know is that he's got the dope on me and he's going to make me pay through the nose.
Why do you always put things on a personal basis, George? Isn't it the duty of a man like Mr. Baird?
No man has to break another man unless he wants to. But, darling, you're not siding with Baird, are you?
I really don't know what to say, George. It's most distressing. I know how you've had to struggle, and it's all very admirable, but it's made it possible for you to accept things that are rather difficult for me to accept.
Well, what things, darling?
Oh, I don't know. There's something distasteful about the whole atmosphere of the thing. This association with thieves and perjurers. And now this scandal. It will be a scandal, I'm sure. Newspaper publicity and all that.
I'll try to spare you all I can, darling.
Now, what are my friends going to say? How am I going to face them?
Do they mean more to you than I do?
That isn't the point. Best thing for me to do is to go to Europe on Tuesday as I'd planned. If this thing blows over, and let's hope it will, you can join me abroad later. If it doesn't, well, there's time enough to think about that.
You mean you're going to walk out on me?
Well, that's a very crude way of putting it, George. And very unfair to me, too. It isn't as though I could do anything for you. I could. I'd be glad to stay, but you've said yourself there isn't anything now, haven't you?
Yes, I guess I did. Just that at a time like this, I thought I'd like to have you around, that's all.
Isn't that just a little selfish, George?
Yes, I guess you're right. Guess it is selfish. I hadn't looked at it in that way. I just thought, Cora, that maybe you'd want to stay.
Oh, please don't misunderstand me, George. Please don't think I'm unsympathetic. Would you like me to ask Father to intercede with Mr. Baird?
No, I don't think you'd better do that.
Oh, whatever you say. I do hope everything will turn out for the best. Oh, well, I really got to run now. I'm late as it is. I'm meeting Roy Darwin for cocktails at 21.
Who?
Roy Darwin. Oh, George, will you be coming out to the country tonight?
Well, I don't know whether I'll be able to make it or not. I'll phone you if I can.
Yes, do. Au revoir, George. I do hope everything's going to be all right.
Goodbye, sweetheart. Here, you can go out this way.
Don't bother. I know the way.
Rexy, any luck with that Baird call?
No, I called his club. They said he wasn't there.
Sure they did. Lousy. Knows who it is, and he's ducking.
Mr. Simon, it's time for you to leave for your luncheon appointment with Mr. Laporte.
What? Oh, yes. It's time to leave?
Yes, sir.
All right. So, you know, Rexy, maybe that guy wasn't so crazy after all.
What do you mean, Mr. Simon?
The one that jumped out of that window. Maybe he's better off that way. Troubles are over.
But I thought you...
I know I did. Maybe I was wrong. What's the matter?
Nothing.
What are you crying about?
I'm not crying. It's nothing. Nothing at all.
What's the matter with you lately?
Nothing the matter with me.
Don't you feel well?
Yes, of course.
Maybe you've been working too. Maybe you ought to have a little vacation, huh?
No, I don't want any vacation.
Well, maybe I'll be going away myself soon, then you get a good rest.
I don't want a rest. I'll get a cab for you now.
Never mind, I'll find one. If anyone calls me, I'll be back in an hour. And get me a reservation on the 4 o'clock plane to Washington.
Yes, Mr. Simon.
just a moment, we will continue our Campbell Playhouse presentation of Counselor at Law. This is the Columbia Broadcasting System. This is Ernest Campbell speaking. We welcome you back to the Campbell Playhouse presentation of Counselor at Law, starring Orson Wells, Aline McMahon, and Gertrude Berg. This is, frankly, an interruption, but a very brief one. In our first performances of the new year, we wish to thank you for your ever-increasing use of Campbell soups, which make these programs possible. Last year, 1938, you bought more Campbell soups than in any previous year in our history. Naturally, we appreciate it. In these Campbell Playhouse programs, we are making our talks about soup quite short so that they'll not interfere with your enjoyment. From time to time, we shall suggest that you try a certain soup that may be new to you or one that you're not using often. All we ask you to do is to try these various Campbell soups and see for yourself how good they are. We now bring you the second half of Counselor at Law, starring Orson Wells, Aline McMahon, and Gertrude Berg.
Simon and Tedesco. Mr. Tedesco, who is calling, please? I'll give you Mr. Tedesco. 1 moment, please. Mr. Simon's out of town. It's almost 5 now. You better call back in the morning. All righty. Simon and Tedesco. Well, I'll give you Miss Gordon as secretary. 1 moment, please. Simon and Tedesco. Hello. Yes, this is Mr. Simon's office. Miss Gordon speaking. No, I'm awfully sorry. Mr. Simon's out of town. He left last night.
Well, tell him Francis Coffin to call.
Oh, yes, I'll tell him. Hello. This is Mr. Simon's office. Oh, no, Mrs. Simon. No, he's not returned from Washington yet. Are you at the pier now?
No, I'm leaving in a few minutes.
Well, of course, he might have gone from the airport to the pier. How soon will you be at the pier?
In about half an hour. If I don't say goodbye, what will you?
All right, I will. I hope you have a pleasant trip, Mrs. Simon.
Thank you.
I hope you fall overboard, Mrs. Simon.
Yes, isn't that yet?
No, Mr. Tedesco.
It's almost 5.
I think he may have gone right to the French line pier. Mrs. Simon's boat sails at 6 to Paris.
Oh, I forgot to send her a telegram.
You want me to take care of it for you?
Yes, if you don't mind.
All right, I'll send it right away.
Hello, John.
Oh, good afternoon, Mr. Simon.
Hello, Rexy.
Oh, Mr. Simon, your wife just called up.
Yeah? I'll call up the pier. No, never mind. I'll be down there in a few minutes. Have a taxi ready for me in about 15 minutes.
Yes, sir.
Well, did you arrange about the books and flowers?
Yes, sir.
Fresh flowers every day.
Mm.
Do they undertake that?
Yes, is that all?
Yeah, that's all. Well, John, Pete Malone and I just got back from Washington.
Well,
Might just as well have saved ourselves the trip.
what did he say?
Oh, he handed out the usual line of bull about what a great guy I am, how he loves me like a brother, about what a tough break it is if this thing has to come up.
Yes, well, is he going to do something about it?
Not a thing. Pete tried to get him to make a personal appeal to Baird, but it wasn't a bit of use.
Oh, the yellow rat. Why didn't you tell him that if it hadn't been for you, we never would have got the nomination?
Now, what's the use? He doesn't know it already. It's because he doesn't want to know it.
I don't blame you for being good and saw, that dirty little sneak.
I know, but what do you expect? It's a cutthroat game we're in. It's every man for himself. Well, John, I'm about at the end of my rope. Tomorrow morning at 10 o'clock, the grievance committee meets, and once it gets before them, I can kiss my little career goodbye.
No, you're crazy. We're going to fight, and we're going to get you out of it.
What's the use talking that way, John? You know better. I haven't got a chance. I'm through and finished.
Now, listen. Take my advice and get some sleep tonight. I guess you haven't been sleeping much, have you?
No, not much.
Well, that's what you need. A good sleep. Why don't you lie down and take a nap now? Huh?
No, I've got to go down to the boat and say goodbye to my wife.
Is there anything I can do?
No, not a thing, John.
Good night.
Oh,
All right.
Mr. Simon,
Yep.
I forgot to tell you, Charlie McFadden wants to see you about something.
Wait till tomorrow. You getting me a cab?
Yes, sir, right away.
Yeah.
Excuse me, Chief. Can I see you for a minute?
Not now, Charlie. I've got to go down to the boat, see Mr. Simon off.
Well, I've got some news for you, Chief.
I'm sorry. Got some. What kind of news?
It's about our friend across the way.
Oh, Baird?
That's him.
Let's have it.
Come on, Charlie.
Found out something about him?
Well, I'll say I have.
Well, what is it?
Well, Francis Clark Baird's leading a double life.
What do you mean he's leading a double life?
Well, wait till I tell you now, Chief. Remember me telling you I found out that he's always making business trips to Philadelphia?
Yeah, well?
Well, yesterday off he goes to the Pennsylvania station and boards a train for Philly with me right behind him.
Well?
He gets out of the station and hops a taxi for Germantown. So I grabs another hack and tells the driver to follow him.
Yes, go on.
Well, we're going along great when all of a sudden we get into a traffic jam. And by the time it gets straightened out, we lose him.
Well, is that all?
Oh, Lord, no. That's just the beginning. I goes back to the station and hangs around, waiting to see if the other taxi's going to come back. Well, after waiting for about 3 hours, sure enough, back it comes.
Was Baird in it?
No, sir, he wasn't.
Well, go on, go on.
Well, I gets talking to the driver and asks him if he remembers. He says he does. He takes the same man out every week to visit his niece in Germantown on Sycamore Drive. Number 1217 it was. So I drive out to 1217, and it's dark by now. So I looks in the window, and there's a girl. A good looker she is, too. And there's a photograph of Baird over the mantelpiece.
Was Baird there?
No, sir, he was not.
Oh, what is all this? What proof you got that he ever was there?
Wait a minute, Chief. I ain't done yet. I says to myself, that little lady don't look like no niece to me.
Is that what you call evidence?
No, sir.
Well, go on.
Well, there's nothing to do till everybody's in bed. Then I goes back to 1217 and takes a look into the house.
What do you mean? You broke into the house?
Well, I wouldn't want to admit that, Chief. I'd be liable to arrest and imprisonment if I did.
Are you crazy? What'd you do a thing like that for?
Now, don't worry about me, Chief. It was an easy job, and I ain't so much out of practice as I thought I'd be.
Well, how'd you find out?
Well, I figured there'd be letters from him, and there was.
You found letters from Baird to this woman?
Yes, sir. A whole stack of them.
Where are they? What do they say?
They're right here, Chief. They're all about how much he loves her and adores her, and about how she don't have to worry about her future. If she'll just lie low and keep her mouth shut.
Charlie, you know what you've done for me.
Well, it's the least I could do, Chief, after all you've done for me.
Rexy!
Yes, Mr. Simon.
Get me Francis Clark Baird on the phone right away.
Yes, sir. Give me a line.
Rexy, I think we've got Mr. Francis Clark Baird just about where we want him. And say, Rexy, take dictation.
Yes, Mr. Simon.
To my wife, Darling, don't sail. Get right off the boat. Everything's going to be all right, and I'll be able to go with you in a few days. Phone me the instant you get this. All my love, sweetheart.
Simon, it's Desco. Who's calling, please? I'm sorry, Mr. Tedesco's gone for the day. Simon and Tedesco.
Simon, please.
One moment, please. I'll give you a secretary. Oh, Bessie, Mr. Simon's not to be disturbed. He's having an important conference with Mr. Francis Clark Baird. If any calls come, I'll take them out here. Okay, Miss Gordon.
Good evening, Mrs. Raggett.
Oh, good evening, Mrs. Simon.
Miss Gordon, is my son here yet?
Well, there's somebody in there with him, and I think it's kind of important. Won't you sit down? He won't be very long.
All right, I'll wait. I got plenty time. How are you today, Miss Gordon?
Oh, I'm all right, thanks. And you?
Oh, I can't complain. You know, Miss Gordon, every time I come in the office here, I always think of the first place my Georgie worked.
Oh.
Water Street. Yeah, he was 13 years old. 13. He was an office boy already for Haitian Rosenthal. For $4 a week.
Oh, well.
Yeah, $4 a week he started. Yeah, and today he's the biggest lawyer in New York. Miss Gordon, he's feeling all right.
Yes, as far as I know now. Why?
I don't know. Every day this week when he called me up, he sounded so blue.
Oh, well, if there was anything